What's up, guys? Zaid here, my boy Bryan. We're actually not at Locals anymore. Locals was Thursday. What's today? Sunday. And he had gotten top 4. You guys saw the combo tutorial, and I failed to get the deck profile that night, but we're here to do it today. Do you have anything you want to say before we hop in?
Not really, except for this isn't really streamlined for the FTK. It's meant to also crack boards going second, so you can definitely probably make it a little bit more with prosperity and stuff, but I like this build personally.
All right, well, let's take a look at what it's like.
So first up, your main starter, Volcanic Trooper. Whole goal of him is to be able to search Volcanic Blaze Accelerator. The other point of him is you can pitch any card to make a Volcanic token on your opponent's field, or the bomb tokens. When those die, they take 500, so he's a pretty key part of the FTK, as you guys saw in the combo. The second starter we play is Volcanic Rocket. He's a good replacement since he just searches any accelerator card. He can just grab the exact same thing Trooper does. The only downside is he doesn't make the token, which is pretty pivotal.
This card used to be insane back in the day. I played this deck like hat format and loved him.
Well, now he's back again. Except for he's not as good as our main guy here, Volcanic Shell. So Shell is single-handedly the reason this deck loses to Droll and Lockbird. Because your only searchers are Rocket and Trooper, really, minus him. But he's pretty important for the entire deck to actually function. Next up is Rimfire. I had another 3 of.
This is one of the new guys. He's crazy.
He is. Rimfire has 2 abilities. The first of which is probably the most important, he can banish a Blaze Accelerator from your field of any name to replace it with one of any name.
Oh, jeez.
And that's once per turn. His other once per turn effect is when he's sent to the graveyard, you can banish him to Foolish Burial any other Volcanic instead. So even though you can't dump the big dudes off of the Blaze Accelerators, he basically replaces that. So he gets around it. Next up, the main board breaker of the deck, we got 3 Volcanic Scattershot. You have to play him at 3 if you play him at all, which kind of sucks, but he helps with, if you don't have the actual FTK, Volcanic Rocket style, he gives you that extra 500 that the token would have given.
And he also, like you were saying, helps break boards going second. I think when he's sent, he dumps 2 more in board wipes, right?
Correct, but he has to be sent off a Blaze Accelerator card, which isn't that hard, and we'll get to that later of how you can actually abuse him going first, too. Last up for the Volcanics is 2 Volcanic Emperor. He is the other new guy from the newest Legendary Duelist set, and is probably one of the stupidest cards I've read in a while. So he's an inherent summon from your graveyard by banishing any 3 Pyros. He then burns 500 per banished Pyro and sets a trap directly from your deck as part of the same ability.
Holy.
And on top of that, while he's on the field, your opponent has to pay 500 life points per special summon. Well, it's not pay, it's actually burn damage, so they're able to do it and accidentally kill themselves if they're not keeping track.
I see. It's not like Masquerade, which requires them to pay it to even activate it. It's
right.
When the activation resolves, they take it.
Yep. Which is good and bad. The nice part about him is being 31 came up a couple times because he can swing over Baron.
Oh, true. Holy, that's a mighty attack stat.
Outside of the Volcanics, we play 6 other monsters. 7, sorry. 3 of them are Hita the Fire Charmer. Hita can discard herself and any other monster to search a fire monster of attack higher than what you discarded. So the main thing there is to pitch a Shell or even Ash Blossom, and you can search just about anything else in the deck.
Her plus Shell's insane since you search anything, but you also get to add another Shell back.
Right, and it's actually it replaces Trooper for the FTK, because you're able to get him back.
Holy, so this card can FTK too.
Last of the 3 ofs is Ash Blossom. You can really play any hand trap in her point. I just like that she was fire.
You can synergize with Channeler.
Yep, that, and we play Hita in the extra deck as well. And you can pitch her with this Hita to search anything. Last monster we play is part of the FTK, and that's the Fire Dog. I know it's a fox, but when he is summoned, he burns for 1,000. And then when he's sent to the graveyard at all from the field, he then searches the Spiritualist Trap from the deck. So you only really have to play one of this, because the dog is one of the very few cards in this game that activate in the deck to summon itself.
Which is so weird. What a crazy summoning condition.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I'm pretty positive, I might be wrong, you reveal it from the deck to declare you're activating it.
Someone's like, hey, what are you going in your deck for? It's like, I have to. Leave me alone.
That's it for the monsters. Next up for the spells, the best card in the deck, which is Volcanic Blaze Accelerator.
This card's new too, right?
Yep. Both of its effects are soft once per turn, but not hard, which is why the other little level 1 guy comes up so much, because you can banish this for another one. Its activation requirement is to dump the original Blaze Accelerator from your deck, hand, or field to the graveyard, which isn't that bad. But once it's on the field, once per turn, you can special summon any Volcanic from your hand, or you can target a card on your opponent's field, monster on your opponent's field, destroy it, and if you do, you dump one of the guys.
And that's where that token comes up?
One of the little level 1s, right.
You give them a free guy, you can pop it and dump, and then I think the token burns when it's popped, right?
Yep. And this is fine against Vanquish Soul, because you're thinking, oh, you have to target so they can dodge it. They can dodge it all they want, you still get the dump, because it's dump, and then if you do, you get the pop.
Oh, nice. So you get the main important part already.
Correct. The board breaking is just an extra aspect of it. Next card that they probably shouldn't have printed is Fire Ejection. They gave Volcanics their own Foolish Burial. Luckily enough, they don't let us search it because it's pretty much impossible. It's not a Volcanic card. But it lets you Foolish Burial 1 level 1 Pyro monster. Or I think it's just any Pyro.
Yeah,
it's just one Pyro from your deck to the graveyard. And then you can either summon a token to your opponent's field or burn equal to its level. So there are some hands that you might break a little bit, but you can dump Emperor off this, make them take 9, and still get them on the field.
Holy.
And lastly, for the spells, we play 2 Blaze Accelerator. A lot of people were only playing 1 of this from what I saw, but there's no reason not to play 2. The card's great at breaking boards. And on top of that, if you end up drawing more than 1 of your Volcanic Blaze Accelerators, it's your only way you're going to get to use it. You have no way to recycle these guys.
I also like that it says your monsters can't attack, but we don't really care since we're doing burn damage anyways.
Correct.
They put a restriction on the card, but like barely.
Well, the nice part is this is the only one of them with that stipulation. So it doesn't come up much. There's a few times where off of Scattershot it matters.
Yeah.
Going second. Lastly, for the traps, we're playing, this is another oddball, Blaze Accelerator Reload. Blaze Accelerator Reload is just you discard a Volcanic to draw a card, but since you can pitch Scattershot on your opponent's turn, you can trigger his effect since it's a Blaze Accelerator. So it works as a quick effect Raigeki if you have the 1 of Scattershot. Otherwise, if you pitch this off Trooper, you can banish it from your graveyard to search any Volcanic.
Wait, I thought you banish it to dump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could pitch it off Trooper and still have the Raigeki.
Correct.
That's insane.
It essentially lets you search just because of the other level 1s being Shell.
Oh, yeah. Would you, I saw the spells and you didn't play. Would you consider playing Foolish Burial Goods for this card?
There's a realm for it. I think if I focus more on the Scattershot, I think it's 100% plausible. Because I'm pretty positive since it sends from deck to the graveyard. Yeah, Scattershot would trigger off of that. Because it's just, if it's sent to the graveyard off a card effect, you don't have to pitch it off the draw. You can pitch it off the mill.
Yeah, sick. And then, what does the other level 1 do when it's dumped again by this?
Which one? Shell or
the new one? The new one.
So the little guy, if you pitch him to draw a card, he can then banish this to replace it with the good one from our deck. Or we can let this stay on the field. We can pitch him, dump the big guy.
So if this card's sent to the graveyard, you can banish it, send a Volcanic, or... Cool.
So it lets you get Emperor to the yard. That's his main purpose, really, in the deck. Outside of that, I played 2 Volcanic Inferno. It's a monster negate, doesn't destroy, but it also burns and can recycle your materials during your opponent's end phase.
So good.
It banishes any Pyro to burn 500, and then if it was a Volcanic, it also negates the monster effect.
That's dirty.
Yep. And then it puts your shells back on the bottom for the next turn.
So it gives you resources, gives you interruptions. It's like is perfect for a grind game.
Yep. And it's searchable off Emperor, which makes it real good. And since it's continuous, you'll have it each turn. Then we have Volcanic Emission. This is part of the FTK as well. It can do one of two things. You can target a pyro on the field, yours or your opponent's. If you target your own, they take half of its attack and damage. If you target your opponent's, they take the full attack. So the only time I thought about that coming up is once I create a sideboard for this deck, I'm pretty sure Volcanic Queen's going to go in. She's a 2600 pyro that you can give your opponent.
Oh, and then just do the full damage to them?
Correct.
Ain't she like a kaiju? Don't you tribute her over their stuff?
She does eat your normal summon, though.
So it's
She's
more
like Lava Golem.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not bad. The other effect's much better. You can special summon any Volcanic from your deck, ignoring its summoning condition.
Holy.
So the other sideboard I'm considering is Doomfire, the original Volcanic boss monster from back in the day. So he's good into matchups like Sprite, because he can come out and force everything to attack into him, and basically burn them extra for each thing that dies.
That's kind of crazy.
If I remember his effect right. I might not be 100% on that. But it's a pretty good card. And the last trap we play is the main FTK of Tribute a Fire Monster, burn equal to its original attack. Yeah,
and if you guys haven't seen the FTK line already, go check out the video we uploaded on it. It's kind of sick, honestly.
It works pretty consistently is the crazy part.
And like looking at your deck, it doesn't even like, if you just did the deck profile and we didn't put FTK in the title, I don't think people even know that it could FTK.
Right.
It doesn't seem like, you don't see like one card that does 8,000 burn on its own or something. You just kind of see a deck with like negates and board breakers, and it's like, whoa, this deck can also kill me in a turn.
So for the extra deck, since I said Prosperity is pretty much needed for this deck, you don't do anything much. There's 4 cards that will never be made. I haven't thought of anything else I can really stick in the place of these, except for just adding more of the other guys in here, just to prevent things from like Cashed Hero from ripping my extra deck.
Yeah, just put Essentials to save from Unicorn.
Yeah, you can treat these 4 as whatever you want them to be.
They're the flex spots.
Yeah. Link Rebo. It's rare, but it comes up against dinos. I need to be able to target other monsters, so I have to clear that Drac token. Which I'm pretty positive is a level 1 egg. So Link Rebo can come up for that. You can also make him with Shell and stuff like that and keep bringing him back. Relinquished Anima. Also a pretty important card.
Yeah, this one's essential to the combo.
So Relinquished Anima is a spellcaster, along with a board breaker, obviously, but most people are smart enough to play around him nowadays. So Relinquished Anima, being a spellcaster, is part of the cost of tribute for that Firefox.
It's
that
so
Fox
dumb.
is tribute any spellcaster, any fire monster, to bring him out.
And your fires all happen, or most of them happen to be level 1.
Yep.
So we get to make this bad boy easily. So good. What the heck?
The 3-0s are 3 Hila? Hita? God, I always get her name wrong. Hita. I was right.
So 6 Hita in the deck total, 3 in main, 3 in extra.
Yeah, we don't question it. 3 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. He is not exclusive to Salad. He can add back any fire monster when something special to his arrow.
And only takes fires to make.
Yep. Phalanx is, I'm pretty positive, the only Salamangreat that takes a Cyberse.
Weird.
I mean, they needed to make Phalanx have some kind of restriction for a starter.
Yeah.
Then my last 2 flex spots that actually came up were Unicorn and my boy Brute Enforcer. So Brute Enforcer is just a slightly worse nightmare. The only big difference for him is he can pop anything, but your opponent can try to negate it. However, his arrows are better, which can come up, and on top of that, again, he's everything. Because this deck struggles with back row, but he helps in the main, and then the sideboard's going to reflect that weakness with Cosmics, MSTs, Duster.
And you got top 4 at locals with this 4-1 and didn't have a side put together?
No, I don't build a side deck for when I first create a deck, because I don't know what it's weak to yet.
That's true, that's true.
So I always take the first in strive, learning, okay, what is actually the big problems here?
So what cards are you thinking are going to go in those slots?
Like I said, mostly back row removal, and then probably some other hand traps for...
Maybe like Droll or something?
Droll is good, and I'm pretty positive you don't hurt yourself at all in your opponent's turn, which is nice with it. Because you don't really search too much, you're just mostly dumping. Like I said, the only problem with Joel is Shell.
And you also mentioned possibly playing Prosperity. Did you have any other ideas on cards that could help streamline it more?
So, Prosperity's good, just because you're a very specific FTK. But if you're just playing Volcanics and trying to board break, I would max out on the Animas and Link Karibos and stuff, and then you can just go Extrav. Because then you don't lock yourself, you don't draw outside of that stuff, and I'm pretty sure Extrav doesn't lock you out of damage.
That's true. I don't think it does either. Does Prosperity lock you out of all damage or just battle damage?
It's all damage.
Oh yeah, all damage is cut in half.
Right.
So that would mess up the FTK?
To a point. It's going to suck, but at the same time, you just got to learn to live with it and pray you don't need to do it.
Yeah. You have any closing thoughts on the deck before we wrap it up?
I'm definitely going to fiddle around with it a little bit more, try to make it a little bit better at going second. Most of my matchups weren't that bad playing into the boards, minus the tier elements. Tier elements did hurt a good bit because all of my ways to get rid of their monsters, they were able to just come back.
Oh yeah, that destroys and all their guys float on destruction.
I did manage to win that just for the sheer fact Blaze Accelerator got to target, I can't remember her name, the one with the big sword that's a monster negate, or a summon negate.
I don't remember, right? Oh, Rukalos.
Rukalos. I pitched Scattershot off this to Popper. Chainlink 1 is mandatory Scattershot.
Oh, and then Chainlink 2's Rukalos to come back, so it came back and left.
Correct. And if they want to negate the Scattershot, they still can't bring Rukalos back because they've missed it. So it was a way to clear the board and potentially more.
That's a neat interaction. I like that. Sick. Well, thank you for the profile.
No problem. Have a good one.